Aloha, everyone! Today, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the Comic-Con trailers that came out for first Justice League and then Thor Ragnarok. So I saw these trailers on the internet, and man, I'm really looking forward to these movies. This Justice League trailer, they're making this look really awesome. They've got they start off with Wonder Woman, and she, just like in her own movie, she looks amazing. We see actually in both of these trailers, really iconic looking shots. Reminds me of one of the things I said when I was reviewing Kong Skull Island. Just the movie just was full of these like epic, iconic looking shots, and these trailers. Looks like both of these movies, Justice League and Thor Ragnarok, are going to have these just really epic shots in them. And if that's a trend in movies, I'm pretty excited for it. Some things should be trends, and if you can get like that kind of imagery, unless they do that and then like just forget about everything else. If they make that the end-all be-all of the movie, then we might have some problems with the movie. But if you have a good, solid movie, and you just make sure to include throughout the movie several of these just incredible looking shots that where you could just take the frame out of the movie and just hang it on your wall and it would look awesome. If they can do that, that would be incredible. The Justice League trailer had some shots of like Batman. Standing on the rooftops, that just looked like, it looked like a splash page from one of his comics. And then you see him later again, he's like swooping down from the sky, and he's got, I love it, it's this red background, this red sky behind him, which it's so reminiscent of the 90s cartoon series, where it was just done in the style where the sky at night was always red in Gotham City. That looks so incredible. And the shot of Aquaman riding a parademon down, crashing him through a building, like riding him like a surfboard, crashing him in the building and just jumping off and flipping his hair as he walks off. Yeah, Aquaman may run away with this movie. He looks pretty darn awesome. I'm looking forward to Aquaman. You knew they were gonna make Aquaman extra awesome because of how pop culture has treated the character. I know a lot of comic fans will tell you, no, in the comics he's actually really pretty, a really cool character. He's not Super Friends Aquaman anymore. He's not the guy that just talks to fish. They made him pretty pretty cool since then, and I think they may have something to prove with this character in this movie. They're going to bring a lot of that coolness to the character. And the Flash, he looks like he's got some really funny lines. In the Justice League cartoon from the early 2000s, Flash was sort of the comic relief character. He was always the one to joke around and cut up a little bit with his fellow Justice Leaguers. The difference is that was a different Flash. That was Wally West in that movie. But in this movie, it's supposed to be Barry Allen. It looks like they're kind of going to give him, not the same personality. The Flash was a little bit cocky in the Justice League cartoon. In this one, he looks like he's kind of new and kind of nerdy, and kind of unsure of himself, but still, he's the guy that's, strangely enough, maybe a little bit more grounded, maybe a little bit more down to earth, and is still able to look at these super people around him, even though he is one of them. He's able to look at these super people around him and say, whoa, this is really weird. Even though he's got this incredible speed. I think it looks like they if that's what they're going for, it looks like they can kind of pull it off. It's a lot of really cool, really fun, and lighthearted kind of action scenes, which is not what we've seen at all from the previous Zack Snyder movies, particularly his DC movies. Wonder if that's maybe, if you haven't heard, Zack Snyder had a family emergency issue. You can look that up online. It's some terrible tragedy, actually. But he's pretty much finished with shooting. But to finish the post-production process, they brought in Joss Whedon to finish directing the movie for the post-production process. And I think there may have been some reshoots and a few things there. And Joss Whedon he's the director of the Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron, which is my all-time favorite movie. Zack Snyder, I hate to say it, particularly with his situation right now, but I don't really think I'm a big Zack Snyder fan. I really like 300, but when I watched 300, it seemed like the movie was really over the top, to the point where it seemed like it was taking itself so seriously and was so over the top that it was like intentionally kind of self-parody, that it was so serious that it was meant to be taken humorously. And after seeing more of Zack Snyder's work, I don't think that may be the case anymore. It may have actually intended it to be taken that seriously. I don't, and I enjoy it for that reason. Yeah, his other movies, I mean, The Watchmen was okay. That was really dark and really serious, but based on, from the work it's based on, that was the idea. So now that, he's done Man of Steel and he's done Batman v Superman, I've kind of decided that he just makes these really serious movies that just don't have a lot of that inherent fun that I love in a superhero movie. Which is, it's fine. That's a legitimate way to go with it. It's just not the way I like it. But Justice League doesn't look like that. Justice League looks fun. It looks like a blast. Maybe that's Joss Whedon's influence on the post-production process. Maybe that was Zack Snyder. Maybe taking some of his criticism to heart and maybe lightening up a little bit. I don't know, but the finished product, it looks pretty amazing. Okay, then there's Thor Ragnarok. It has some of these just epic shots, and for Thor Ragnarok, those epic shots look like, it's more, rather than the splash page out of a comic book, they almost look more like the cover of a heavy metal album. But it works for this movie. The first Thor they got like a Shakespearean director to do it, and the Asgardian scenes in the first Thor are kind of Shakespearean, kind of mixed with like your standard superhero origin story when they're on Earth. His powers get taken away and he has to prove himself worthy. In the second Thor movie, Thor: The Dark World, they change it up a little, and it feels like kind of a Lord of the Rings kind of thing. Like it's a science fantasy kind of thing. I mean, there's some Star Wars-y kind of things thrown in with it, but it feels more like Lord of the Rings thing. So the Thor movies, they've kind of changed up along the way, and this third one, it feels a little more in line with Guardians of the Galaxy, which I love. And it's probably going to make it my favorite out of all the Thor movies, because it's so Guardians of the Galaxy. But, I can see some Thor fans having issue with that, because it is somewhat incongruous with the previous Thor movies. But in a way, it's kind of Guardians of the Galaxy, but I also get a little bit of this 80s Flash Gordon. If you've ever seen that movie, the 80s version of Flash Gordon, kind of that feel to it as well. Maybe if that's the issue, if that's the way they go with it, if it feels more like that, maybe, Thor fans won't feel like as much like they're getting a Guardians of the Galaxy movie in disguise. But we haven't seen the movie yet, so we don't know. I'm probably gonna love it. I myself am probably gonna love it. Valkyrie looks awesome. You got Thor teaming up with Loki again. I mean, he's a villain, he's not to be trusted, but they always find a way to get Thor and Loki to team up. And Hulk is back, and Hulk is speaking in full sentences, kind of broken up Hulk speech, but it's more than the 2 words we heard him speak in Avengers, which is pretty cool. I kind of figured that was eventually going to happen in the MCU, that they were going to give Hulk more dialogue, make him more capable of expressing himself, but the scene in the trailer with Thor and Hulk comparing themselves to each other, and Thor saying we're a lot of like, and yes, and Hulk saying yes, Hulk like fire, Thor like water, and he says, well, actually we're both kind of like fire, but Hulk like raging fire, Thor like smoldering fire. Which kind of contrasts the earlier in the trailer where Thor's talking to Bruce Banner, telling him, "Oh, we fought last night." He says, "Oh, did I win?" So Thor says, "No, I won easily," which we're pretty sure was not the case. But this is going to be a great movie, and I'm really excited. Justice League too. Both of these look really good. I mean, I could be wrong, but it looks good. I think this has been a good year for movies. I think even the movies that aren't, like, technically speaking, good, have still been fun. So, and not to mention, we've got a saga Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi, coming up at the end of the year. I'm excited, and I hope you are too. Like, comment, subscribe, and that's a wrap.